Reports have surfaced today that the Commanders are actively shopping running back Brian Robinson Jr. onto the NFL trade block. Now, while that has left some of the community and the fan base confused and surprised, all that we can do is just say, we told you so. What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Before I get too deep into this video, though, don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe so you're not missing any of this content on your Commanders from Bleeding B&G. You can also join the channel to become a member of the Bleeding B&G Mafia. Hit join at the bottom of this video. Just a couple of days ago, I did a video titled, I Tried to Tell You About Brian Robinson Too. And in that video, I power walked a victory lap after Washington Commanders beat reporter Ben Standard speculated that running back Brian Robinson Jr. wouldn't be on the Commanders roster by week 1. Something I predicted in another video I did way back in May. And as I said, I power walked that victory lap. Not necessarily ran it because the assumption was nothing more than speculation and nothing had been set in stone. Well, things have changed a bit since I did that video a couple of days ago. As you see on the screen, within the last hour, NFL insider Jordan Schultz has reported that the Commanders are actively shopping Brian Robinson Jr. on the trading block. And to be honest, this shouldn't come as a surprise to nobody. And I believe that this report should be taken serious. If we can remember, Jordan Schultz was the first in the national media to let us know that Terry McLaurin and his camp was disgruntled with the way that contract negotiations were going. So I would perk my ears up just a little bit when Jordan Schultz is reporting on our Washington Commanders. And as I said in the video that I did the other day, unless you had the visual capability of Ray Charles, not Stevie Wonder, because I believe he could see, you could have saw this coming. You could have saw this coming a long time ago. After the 2024 season, I thought it was adamant that we upgraded at the running back position. So when the only thing we did was draft a 7th rounder, I was like, I'm not sure why, but they really like this Brian guy, not B-Rob over here. You guys know we denounced him of his nickname a long time ago. You got to be a certified baller to get a nickname from us over here at Bleeding B&G. So we know Brian Robinson Jr. Y'all call him B-Rob. We know him over here as Brian. Well, that 7th rounder that I just mentioned, and Ja'Cory Crosky-Merritt, he's come in and taking B-Rob's chain. A good old Friday reference for the boomer crowd out there that doesn't know what I'm talking about. Yeah, I know that we got somebody else named Debo on this roster, but Ja'Cory Crosky-Merritt has quite literally Debo'd their RB1 spot away from Brian Robinson Jr. And the other day, I had people in my comments telling me that I was stupid, that I was bugging for suggesting that Brian Robinson might not be on this roster come week 1. Saying that Bill, also known as Ja'Cory Crosky-Merritt, or Ja'Cory Crosky-Merritt, also known as Bill, whatever way you want to slice it, isn't ready to take on a full workload and pass blocking reps. And to the naked eye, I can agree. The only 7th round running back that we've had be an instant contributor in recent years is Isaiah Pacheco. So the numbers don't bear out. At all. Well, I'll let you know this. With this report that came out today, the Ja'Cory Crosky-Merritt RB1 agenda is real. It's real. You might as well draft him on his fantasy team, on your fantasy team, and thank me at the end of the year when he wins you a league. Thank me at the end of the year when Ja'Cory Crosky-Merritt wins you a fantasy championship. You heard it here first over here at Bleeding B&G. But while I'm driving the Ja'Cory Crosky-Merritt hype train. I think that this has just as much to do with Jeremy McNichols and Chris Rodriguez as it does Ja'Cory Crosky-Merritt. Yeah, we want to talk about pass blocking and we want to talk about Bill being a 7th round rookie. Well, let's call it spade to spade. And let's be quite honest, because you know you come to Bleeding B&G for the most raw, uncut, and unfiltered analysis on your Washington Commanders. And if we're being quite honest, Jeremy McNichols is the best pass blocker on this team. Jeremy McNichols is the best pass blocker on this team. And then Chris Rodriguez averaged more yards per carry than Brian Robinson last season. Sound like he needs to get more ops, right? Couple this along with the fact that Brian doesn't play special teams, and you get this perfect stew of the report that we got today of the Commanders actively shopping Brian Robinson Jr. Now, the reality of the situation is Brian Robinson is an RB that has never had an 800-yard season. After 1K season, I know that's the benchmark. He hasn't had an 800-yard season. So why are these the type of guys that we're wearing cape for? Why are these the guys that we are caping for? And to add on to that fact, he accounts for about $303 million. Excuse me. When would Brian Robinson ever be a $300 million player? My bad. He accounts for $3 million towards the cap. And it sounds like Adam Peters believes it's a better way that we can use that money. We might need some extra millions for Terry McLaurin. You know, Ricky over on X said that contract is coming soon. B-Rob was a tremendous comeback story, and I get why you guys are attached to him. Battling back from being shot prior to his rookie season, him only missing 4 games. Tremendous comeback story. But as I said in that video I did the other day, that does not mean that he's an RB1 in the NFL. Because the reality of the situation is he's a bruiser back that wears down as seasons goes on. That is not an archetype for a long, successful career at the running back position. And I've been hesitant to speculate while he's been on the roster over the course of the last 3 years, because y'all know I've never been the biggest Brian Robinson Jr. fan as far as what he's done on the field in between the white lines. But I think you'll be naive to not wonder if that shooting where he got shot in his knee contributes to him wearing down over the course of seasons. So while this isn't all Brian Robinson's fault, we know that the NFL is a cutthroat business. We know that the NFL is a cutthroat business. And to be quite honest, I think we'll get our first tell as whether there's some validity to this Jordan Schultz report tomorrow in our preseason week 2 matchup against the Cincinnati Bengals. Because I'm telling you now, it can go a plethora of ways. It can go a plethora of ways. You know, Brian Robinson sat out of the week 1 matchup with the New England Patriots. And when I did my video, giving my analysis and my insight onto what Ben Standard reported, I was like, if he's not going to be on his roster, why did he not play in week 1 against the Patriots? Well, guess what? This is something for you guys to keep a keen eye out for tomorrow. This could go one of either 2 ways. Brian Robinson could get 10 plus carries, and we can look at it as, oh yeah, they showcasing Brian Robinson. They trying to get him up out of here. They showcasing him for the rest of the league to see if we can get a mid to late draft pick. Because I promise you, we're not getting nothing higher than a 6th-round pick for Brian Robinson at the moment. Or it can go where he doesn't get any carries, and we can be like, oh yeah, they're protecting Brian Robinson from himself. So that while he's being shopped on this market, he doesn't sustain any injuries to potentially hinder any type of movement where a trade is concerned. So this is something for you to keep a keen eye out for tomorrow as we get ready to watch the Cincinnati Bengals and the Washington Commanders in week 2 of the preseason. But let me know, what do you think about today's report? What do you think we could get for Brian Robinson? Do you think he ends up being cut if we can't get anything of value in return? And are you shocked by this report? You shouldn't be, though, especially if you've been tapped into Bleeding B&G, because we told you this back in May. So go ahead and hit that subscribe button so that you can be out in front of these stories and you can sound like a real pro the next time you're talking to your friends about the Washington Commanders. I'll check in on y'all on the flip side. Peace.